91.3 FM.
Transformation Agenda series on education with Abraham You are listening to the Transformation Agenda series on education with Abraham
Good morning and welcome to the Transformation Agenda series on education. It's another beautiful Saturday morning, and we are here to have another wonderful conversation with you. Today we are with the Complementary Education Agency in Ghana. We are going to look at their past, the present, and what they have for us in the future. A lot is happening in this country called Ghana. I'm so privileged to be a Ghanaian in this day and age, and I believe that God has really been good to us as a nation. Yesterday, 3 days ago, over the week, we have been in the central and the western region, and we were just there to look at families that have gone through the free senior high school policy and their testimony, the experiences that they went through, going through the junior high school, passing through the free senior high school. And in fact, I came home thinking and asking myself why people would talk negatively about the free senior high school policy or the free senior high school education that we have in. Of course, we have challenges. We've not had a free senior high school in this country before. This is the first time we are having a free senior high school. And of course, we are going to have some challenges. And that is going to be some form of an experience that we're going to use in the years ahead. And at a point, I saw myself as a very strong person who wouldn't shed tears. But when I listened to the testimony of people, where they came from, we went to the homes of these people. We're going to show you all this on TV. And you listen to the testimonies. I'm telling you what this free senior high school policy has done for this country. You have no idea. You have no idea. I want to say good morning to you, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana. Before the 2016 election, becoming the President, pledged to ensure that every Ghanaian child of secondary school going age actually attends the secondary school education for free. And 2017, in September, we began the free senior high school education in this country, and which has really brought transformation in the life of the people that have gone through it. Some of them are in the tertiary institutions, of which we visited one of them in the university. And I'm telling you that if you listen to the testimony, it's very emotional. One thing that Ghanaians are not looking at is that if we didn't have the free senior high school to allow all these 15 years upwards, or 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 students to go to the secondary schools, you know what was going to happen? We're going to have a lot of social vices, violence here and there, and most of these girls would have been pregnant, giving birth to children in this country who may not have fathers, in quotes. And so this, actually, the free senior high school policy actually was a security solution to this country. It has really saved this country from so many troubles that we don't look at, and all we look at is there's food shortage, and there's students are this and this and that. We may have challenges, but I'm telling you, as a country, we should also learn to appreciate the good things that we have. It's not always talking about negativity. There are good things that are also happening in this country, and that's what we try to trumpet. We don't only throw light on the bad side of things that happen in this country, but I believe that we really achieve. And I want to say good morning to you, Honorable Dr. Yao Seducho, Minister for Education. You've really been a blessing to this country, visiting schools, and I went to places where they told me after the visit of the minister, the lives of the students changed. They became so serious. And I heard this from the headmistress of Hantaman Girls Senior High, who told me that after the visit of the minister, the attitude of the student changed. And I was surprised to hear that, because sometimes we had people visiting our schools and it was like the ordinary thing. But I believe it's because of the testimonies he shared about himself and encouragement that he gave to these students. God bless you so much. I believe that we're going to have a very beautiful conversation this morning with the CA. Stay tuned, stay connected, and I believe today is that day that you've been waiting for. Share the link. We are live on Facebook on Transformation Agenda Series on Education, on YouTube.
Transformation Agenda Series on Education with Abraham Adu.
And now we know that you made our way when our backs were against the wall, and it looked as if it was over. Lord, you made our way.
So when we were at the secondary school, I had some of my mates who would have to go to the farm, to go and farm and get some money to come and pay their fees. We haven't forgotten that. We're going to have girls who are going to be selling pure water on the street. And how much profit do they make? So what was going to happen is that as they sell the water and a man meets them, and talks to them and gives them money, they have to put the water somewhere. And we'll have girls who will be pregnant here and there, having children from men who are not even ready to be fathers. But for the free senior high school, but for the free senior high school policy, you have no idea. You just have no idea.
That's impossible.
A man told me, he said, my daughter was going to stay home for 2 years because I didn't have it. And if I'm going to send her to the secondary school, I was going to take a loan.
You cause walls to fall.
So when you are talking a lot about education in this country, you need to think about all these things.
There is nothing that's
Transformation Agenda Series on Education with Abraham Adu.
only because.
And you know, we visited Wesley Girls Senior High School, and believe you me, the free senior high school education in this country has succeeded. And I know what I'm talking about. It's not a book I read, because I see it myself. I was a science student at Apam Secondary School. I did science, physics, chemistry, and biology. But when I went to the Wesley Girls High School and some of the schools I visited, I asked myself whether I was a science student or some class 1 student who was in the secondary school. The intelligence level and the wisdom of these girls is just amazing. They understand what they are doing because we have provided labs for them. Cape, the Wesley Girls High School has the new constructed lab, 6-unit lab for physics, chemistry, biology. We had opportunity to visit the old lab, and if you see it, you only say, "Thank you, Mr. President." Nana Adodankwa Ekufuado. This project, as the surest precursors for national transformation, His Excellency the President pledges unwavering commitment to support and to make education the top priority for the citizenry. So the Ifia Sewa Ampem Girls Senior High School Engineering Club, based in the Ashanti region, constructed and flight a new aircraft. The model airplane serves the purpose of aiding security surveillance through data collection. The club emphasizes hands-on learning, providing students with practical training in aviation and aerospace industries, while also encouraging young women to pursue careers in typical male-dominated fields. fields. Additionally, the minister is exploring opportunities to affiliate the school with the US-based institution for collaboration in aeronautics and aerospace engineering. This country is blessed. We thank God for the life of our president and the Minister for Education, Honorable Dr. Yaosei Duchum. Wherever you are, God bless you. So this morning, my guests are already seated. I'm going to be talking about the Complementary Education Agency in Ghana. Some of you don't know they exist. Of course, the president didn't only talk about the free senior high school policy, but we also have the GEO project. We went up north, visited 14 districts. And I'm telling you, there are girls who are in school now. Some of them have been transitioning into the mainstream education. But there's another agency that deals with a lot. I think you've watched a documentary years ago, I think last year or so, about their works. And today we have the honor to have the executive director of the Complementary Education Agency, the person of Mrs. Catherine Ejapoma Apiak Penkra. She didn't come alone. She came with Mr. Patrick Chumesi, who is head of corporate affairs at the Complementary Education Agency, and Mr. Philip K. A. Dare, an acting director, Complementary Education and Training, and they are already seated. Good morning to you, lady and gentlemen.
Good morning.
It's a blessing having you here this morning.
We appreciate you having us.
God bless you so much.
Your
You're working so hard. I look at what you do, and anytime I invite someone and they happen to be here on Saturday mornings, I just feel humbled because it's not easy to wake up Saturday morning after the long week of stress and all that and also be here. God bless you for what you are doing for this country. Ghana, I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
God bless you so much. Can you talk to us about the launch that occurred at the La Palm Royal? I think Madam Mrs. Penkra, who is the Executive Director of CA, will tell us what happened.
Thank you, Bishop, for having us and your listeners. Good morning and a good weekend to you all. I bring you greetings from the CEA, my staff and everybody, and also good morning to our Minister, Dr. Yaosei Duchum, and all the staff within the ministry. We are happy to be here. Couple of weeks ago, we launched what we call Cycle 9 of our CBE and also the remedial education program. These are one of or the two flagship programs that we have within the agency. Within this, we seek to mobilize or recruit learners from the community, what we call the out-of-school children. And these are the unfortunate or underprivileged children who had never had opportunity to be in the regular classroom where we start from KG there up. These are the ones who have never had opportunity, and we are looking at those within the age bracket of 8 and 16 years.
Okay.
You could see that they are very old. We start from age 4, where we put them in KGs, and up to age 8, it means that you have not had opportunity. There are so many reasons I will not want to go into it.
Okay.
And so what we have been mandated to do is to focus on these children who have never been to classroom, put them into some literacy program, prepare them. We're not just giving them this early training because it spans just about 7-9 months. We don't leave them there. We prepare them and mainstream them into the regular schools where they start from class 3. And so on yearly basis, this is what we've been doing so that we can mop up these children. In fact, we are talking over 2 million children out of school within our population, which is quite huge.
Yes.
And given the reasons that have not given them to be in the regular, so we think that it is their right. Of course, it's spelled out in the Constitution that we have right to education. it is our mandate as a ministry and also the agency to make sure that they are in. The other one is a pilot that we started, but we have seen that it's gaining roots and it's becoming more important. These are our youth who had fallen out because they could not make it to the free senior high school or the senior high school level, because they could not pass and get better grades. And so we go through with remedial classes for them so that they can better their grades and enter into senior high schools, either TVET or the regular schools. We started, and I think the first one we did, we had over 450 learners, and I'm proud to say that we had about 99%.
Wow.
Yes, because it was only one person who could not even make to the secondary school because of some inconsistency, not because he didn't do well. And so we are proud to say that it has worked well, and we intend rolling 6,000 this year, and I'm sure in the coming years we'll be doing more, because we are mandated to make sure that all remedial classes are coordinated and run by us. And so the launch was actually to showcase what the CEA does for the public to know, and then come and avail themselves to these services.
All right, thank you very much. So that is Mrs. Catherine Ajapoma Apiapinkra, who is the executive director of CA. Madam, let me ask you, the CA used to be the non-formal education division. What have been the different phases of the division, and which is now the agency?
It's amazing. The non-formal education was actually established way back in the 1989. The sole mandate was to coordinate and direct all adults, and I want to stress on that, all adult education related activities, and also enhance some kind of integrated planning and coordinated activities in that sector. Youth and adults particularly were the ones that were targeted. It will amaze you to know that the history of the non-formal they started in some regions, not in all the regions, particularly the Volta region, Western Central. These were the places where we have volunteers and where the churches were equally interested to make sure that those who have never been to school, particularly the adults, were enrolled in some kind of literacy classes. At that time, the Institute of Adult Education, which is now known as the School of Continued and Distant Education, was also founded. That was in the 40s, and it was actually in the University of Ghana. And by the 50s, the adult literacy activities within the department had spread throughout the country, because we realized that the population of the non-literate youth and adults stand around over 5 million out of our population. If you can recall, in those times our population was just a little over 14 million. So it tells you that about a third of our population was non-literate. This was quite alarming. And so some programs were made, different names were given. Within the 50s and the 60s, the program was able to, in 1987 and the 1992, these were the time that they ran two phases, what we call the non-formal education literacy program. This gained the support of the World Bank, and they supported it massively. So they ran, as I said, two phases, and within this they were able to churn out about 60,000 per year. And it really helped us. And unfortunately, when the World Bank fund drizzled out, then the numbers dropped. Meanwhile, the numbers were still in, and as I said, the numbers were getting out of her. And so with the coming of this government, we saw that the non-formal education has to be given a different portfolio. It's not only the adult that we are looking at.
Okay.
We are looking at children out of school, as I said, and these are as young as 8 and 16. And then we have the adults, those who are in the working age bracket, and even the aged who had never been to school but they are willing to be in school. And so the ministry passed an act into a bill into an act in 2020, which received the assent of the president of the land, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. And this act is called the Complementary Education Agency Act 1055,
Okay.
to oversee the provision and administration of quality complementary education in Ghana, and also to provide related activities. It means that we are moving from only the adults
Okay.
and expanded to cover one, the CBE, what we call the complementary basic education, the CBE, what we call the complementary basic education. With this one, we are looking at the out of school children,
Okay.
the 8 to 16. We are looking at those within the adult brackets, and then we are also looking at the remedial. We are also providing occupational skills development for our youth and the adults. Maybe later on we can expand on that. And then lastly, as I said, the works were uncoordinated. So the CA had been mandated to coordinate and make sure that all within that space, both private and private, we manage them. And so far, this is how non-formal education in Ghana has traveled way from the 40s up to this time. That, thank God, we have an act that is actually guiding our operation, which has been also been expanded to provide not just literacy but also complementary education to our youth, who can even go up to the tertiary level and become well literate.
All right, thank you very much, Mrs. Catherine Ejapoma Piapinkara. Before I go to Mr. Patrick Chumesi, let me ask you, when you're speaking, you mentioned the World Bank coming into support, and then when they pulled out, it reduced the number of children that would, because it was more of a voluntary sort of work. Yeah. Then you mentioned an act incoming of the president. Does it mean that, or let me ask it this way, did the president put a lot of funds into it, or was there some funding somewhere that might have changed the trend of it going down and then moving upwards?
Right. Definitely. In all the programs, in all the MDAs, it's both GOG funded and development partners funded. And if you have a giant like World Bank supporting you and withdrawing, it creates a huge gap in funding for your work. And that is one of the reasons why the government found it wise to expand the scope, upgrade it to an agency level where we can go out and pursue resource funding, both local and outside. And I will also say that the government also expanded its budget to the Complementary Education Agency based on the new act. As we speak, the government, under the leadership of Nana Yawosaye Duchum, we have been given some additional budgets every year. The GET Fund is also supporting what we do in the regions. We, as we speak, there's a project that is ongoing. You rightly said JOP under World Bank. There is this kind of funding that is there that is managed by JOP. And then we also have Big Win. Big Win is also coming in to support us in making sure that our programs are done. Currently, because of the mandate given us and the exposure given us, we've also been attracting some support. We have the UN coming in, basically UNDP, UNICEF, and UNESCO coming on board, and then FCDO, that is under the British government, and then we have Luminous, which is a private NGO also supporting us. We having a quite a number of support here and there, both financial and technical.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank God for that. So, Mr. Patrick Chumesi, who is the head of corporate affairs at the Complementary Education Agency, what were the contributions that the non-formal education division made, which has positively impacted the education ecosystem in Ghana?
Well, as my executive director narrated, need I say more, but I'll just have to tag in this.
Yeah.
Very important that within the two phases, that is 1992 to 1987, and then we are talking about 2022 to 2027, that 10-year period. 2002, 2007.
Okay.
That space, we were able to raise close to 3 million Ghanaians who were made literate.
Wow. That's beautiful.
And that is a great cutback on illiteracy in Ghana. And so if we are looking at it from that time when the funding was there, just as my executive director said, it tells you the kind of contribution that NFED put in years back. And if today we have all the institutions coming on board, and I'll take this opportunity to say that if you can hear me from wherever you find yourself, the Talos, the MTNs, and so on and so forth, please come on board, because these individuals who are being made literate, they are rather going to kneel to your benefits.
Yeah.
Because that illiterate person who can use their phone, go on the internet and browse, surf and all that, they are going to buy more of your of your credit,
because
and
they
you
can
are going
read.
to, exactly. So you are going to benefit. So that was the contribution of the World Bank in supporting NFED to turn out all these individuals. And we should bear in mind that if I'm talking about 3 million, almost for 1992, 1997, 2022 to 2027, and we are looking at the current dispensation, and you realize that we have the capitation grant for the basic and then the senior high school free, senior high school also running. It tells you that there is a constituency that we cannot leave behind. What we call the tail draggers. If you want to develop, you need these people to be with you. Nobody can be left behind. And you tell me that the development can be holistic, because when you want to move faster, these are the people, you can't leave them behind. They cannot access opportunities that come along from the top. And it doesn't matter the kind of level playing field that you provide. They cannot benefit. COVID had demonstrated it. When COVID came and you have to resort to virtually from church, mosque, everybody, you're going online and you have to use Zoom, you have to use Facebook, YouTube, and you cannot access. You are totally out of the equation. And currently the fourth industrial revolution is calling out that every individual, we are moving to the realms of artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to be the lot of the one who is out of that literacy space? So the contribution from NFA, the division, moving on to the agency, tells you that it's a great promise. There's a whole lot, as my executive director said, from the complementary basic education, CBE, from 8 to 16. These are the critical period, as the child psychologists will say. These are the critical periods that they are receptive to information. And if you don't offer them education at this point in time, definitely you know that the country is going to lose. So for the development of this nation to be holistic, we need the CEA, which is NFED, which is now CEA, and the contributions that we have made. It is really awesome.
All right, thank you very much. Now, you mentioned MTN having people able to read and go on net and use their network and all that. Have you tried churches as well? Because we also want Christians, you to also read the Bible. And so I'm thinking that it shouldn't only be the companies here and there, but churches should also, I don't know if you have a system of getting to the Christian community as well, because we also want our members to be reading the Bible, and it's through your efforts that they are able to read, so that at least there should be some little pushing here and there that churches can also.
Yes, I mentioned MTN and other institutions just
yes, I understand,
for funding purposes, for them to come on board and support what you're doing.
Yeah.
As from NFED to CEA, we have what we call the community entry process. We go to the churches, we go to the mosque, everywhere, and we are really connected. Any community we go to the chief palace. And sometimes we have some of our classes in the palaces, the Queen Mother's Palace and all that. So when it comes to teaming up with these institutions and some of the churches themselves, we have trained some of their church members as facilitators, which have helped them to train their church members to be able to read the Bible. And some churches will testify to this, that some of their members have been able to read the Bible in the local languages because of what NFED came to their community and did, and we continue to do.
Thank you very much. So that is Mr. Patrick Shumesi, who is the head of corporate affairs at the Community Education Agency. Mr. Philip K. there. Can you talk to us about why the change from NFED to CA and it's relevant to the educational mix?
All right, so the change is very important because it is good to expand the mandate of the complementary, then non-formal education division, which was focused on only adult literacy delivery.
Okay.
The image is also relevant to be rebranded.
Okay.
So the creation of the agency gives a new opportunity to different kinds of out-of-school persons to provide them with, how do I call it, a long span of opportunity to undertake out-of-school learning, particularly those who have fallen from the BECE and they can get back into it. Those who also could not acquire high occupational skills to make themselves employable. It is a new opportunity for them. And the functional literacy program which we were running, it is now an opportunity to review it into different kind of components to cater for the different learning needs of youth and adults, so that from the basic level, individuals who have missed formal education at a particular point of their life will be able to receive targeted learning opportunities to enable them move from the basic level to the tertiary without necessarily entering into any formal school setting.
All right, thank you very much. Mrs. Apia Pinkra, we had opportunity to meet some associations like seamstress, tailors, and those groups who also fall under your agency. Where, if somebody is listening to us and asking questions, where are your offices? Where do you meet? How do we get? Maybe I'm in Accra. Where do I go and all that? Within Accra, how many centers you have and how do they operate?
Okay, thank you very much. As an agency, from where we're coming from and the dates that we started operating, it's quite assuring that we are not just here in Accra. We are operating in all the former 10 regions.
Okay.
And with the coming in with the new 6, we currently have 2 are waiting to create the other 4.
Okay.
And so we are in all the regions across the country, and those that we don't have the regions, we have some of our officers overseeing those regions for now. We are in preparation to send officers to create the offices there. When you go to the districts, in all the over 220 something, 600 or something districts that we have across the country, we have offices, and then we have officers who are operating in all these areas. When you come to Accra, our office is based, is situated at the prisons. The prisons, yes. Cantonments, just here in cantonments. Our head office on the Ridge Road going to the Ridge Roundabout. If you know FPMU or CDH, we are just adjacent to CDH on the main road. So we are not really far-fetched. We are within the here. We have, as you said, the hairdressers and the beauticians and all that, they are coming to us. We are even working with the CT vets. We are working with the a commission on TVET services, where we trying to roll out our programs to their constituents. You know, they are giving some skill development and everything to them, but when it comes to the literacy side, we are in consultation with them to deal with them. And so our concern is quite huge. And if you heard we saying, as we speak now, we span about 8 million.
Wow.
Out of school children is over 2 million. Those in the adults and youth, they are within, they are also over, they are almost about 3 million. And then the those aged. And so putting everybody, all of them together, we running into 8 million out of our 30 million.
Wow.
So we're quite huge.
Wow.
And we are in contact with many of them. So our work is to reach out to them. And that is the reason why all these regional and district offices had been created. Numbers will be given at the end of the show.
Okay.
So that if there is anybody who does not even know the location of these offices, can reach out to all of us. But those in the regions and the districts, they are closer to all of them.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, all right. So let me ask, recently you launched 2 flagship programs, and how would the rollout be, and the impact on the complementary education agency in Ghana? Okay.
All right, so for the 2 programs we have rolled out, the first one is the complementary basic education cycle 9. We targeting 30,000 learners in 4 regions. They are Bono East, Northern Region, Upper East, and Upper West. In the area of Bono East, we are looking at Pro East, Pro West, and Sine West. For the Northern Region, we are looking at Yendi, Zabzugu, and Tatali Sangole. For the Upper East, Bolga Municipal, Bongo, and Talensi. And in the Upper West, we are looking at Wa East, Wa West, and the Wa Municipal. They have the high numbers of out-of-school children within those regions. It is not that the southern sector is neglected, but we are looking at where the huge numbers are located. So we are targeting this high number in those regions so that we can contribute to the reduction of literacy and create level and flexible opportunities for learners out of school children to get back into the formal school. For the remedial education program, which we are widening nationwide, we are targeting 6,000 with the hope that some of our brothers and sisters who had weaker grades will prepare them again to resit for either BECE or WASI, to give them new opportunities or requirements to be able to enjoy the free SHS as well as enter into tertiary institutions.
Okay, let me ask you before you continue. You're talking of children who may have not done well in the BECE, and then so how do you get them? How do you pick these children?
So at the district level, our officers undertake what is known as community animation or community sensitization to create our
Mainstream education.
Exactly.
Wow, and you're talking of millions of children that you've dealt with.
For the entire number is so huge. The agency alone and dependence on government of Ghana funding, we cannot even reach the number my executive director has mentioned.
Wow.
Over 8 million. We are not talking of those who have dropped along the line. We are only talking of those who are not literate.
Wow.
It's a huge number. So if you have to count the numbers which have dropped along the line, then we are not talking about 8 million.
Wow. We
are reaching into many millions. And we focus the remedial education program on those who have not been able to do well. But for the CBE, for example, it is to help them only to get back into the formal school.
Before we activate the phone lines, Mr. Patrick Chumesi, let me ask you, how much are we paying for these courses that you run for? How much do we pay?
Amazing. everything is free.
It's free.
Wow.
Everything is free. Nobody pays for. We are not paying. Anybody who comes to our setup don't pay anything.
Wow.
Even with our readers, what we call primers, the primers that we have, they are all free. And even if you pick them, you see the very first page there. It's written. It's not for sale.
Wow.
Everything that comes, we give everything. Especially when even we had the World Bank dispensation, we give up to pencils, exercise books, and all that. What are we doing? What we intend to do is, with the NFLP, like the adult education, if the adult come to gain literacy, you can only give from what you have.
Okay.
And when they come to appreciate what education is all about, then that parent or guardian is prepared to forgo, is prepared to sacrifice, and then choose the path of investing in the education of the child. So when you are coming in to...
What your name and where you're calling us from, please?
Okay. My name is Steve Ni Obenkwachi,
Great.
and I'm calling from Michelle Camp.
Michelle Camp. Okay, talk to us, Mr.
Yes,
Kwachi.
this is my second time of listening to you.
Thank you very much.
I tried calling within the week because last week your guest raised a whole lot of issues, and I wanted to put my views across, but I didn't get you.
No problem at all.
And I'm very happy about what your guest is saying this morning.
Great.
I'm also in the education field. I've been in it for close to 30 years.
Okay.
And all of this, in fact, this is the first time I'm hearing of a program dedicated to education like that. And I want to encourage you to keep on doing that. Within the week, I'm going to call you to highlight some of the things your guest spoke about last week.
Okay.
Because even though I'm not contradicting him, there are a couple of things I also want to put across so that we can keep building education in Ghana.
Okay.
So God bless you so much.
God bless you. All right. So hold on. Let my producer pick your number, and then we can get in touch with you after the program.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. That is Mr. Kwachi from Michelle Camp. God bless you so much. Okay. So I was asking. Yes. Oh, I was going to ask a question, and then it came through. I'm looking at the people that have been through the system. We have those in the primary school going age, like you put them through class 3, and like you mentioned, and then those who are doing the remedials. The adults that are also learning how to, I mean, like we may have a company or a church that will organize people and all that. If somebody organizes a group of people, or what number size should I organize or have for you to be able to provide me with a teacher to come and help, so that if somebody lives in a community where you have a lot of people who can't read and write, do they have that opportunity to organize people and consult you to bring them people to help teach them?
All right, our standard class sizes are 25.
So if I'm able to organize
even
25,
if they are up to 30.
okay. So if I'm able to organize 30 participants somewhere, and I call your office, you provide.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay, so
we will locate you in a district.
Okay.
Where the class or your location is located.
Okay.
And that district will assign you someone to support the class to roll out.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now let's look at we went up north, and when we're having the job interviews, some of the parents will tell us, my daughter is not going to school because I can't buy books. Somebody will tell you, my daughter is not going to school because I can't give her feeding money. If she goes to school and her friends are buying something, she doesn't have money to buy. These were the excuses of parents who wouldn't allow their children to go, and they've stayed home for years just because of books and pens and also this.
So I think those are the contributing factors that executive director subsumed at the beginning of the interview. They go beyond that. Some families have huge numbers of children, and for that matter, dedicating commitment, sometimes even feeding for the children are a problem, because the whole life is in such a way that the family goes to the farm, lunch, everything is there. Meanwhile, school is in town. and there is no caretaker at home to enable the child to eat, go to school, and come back. So parents prefer in that part of the country to take their children along to farm. They eat, work, and they come home in the evening. Meanwhile, education is also occurring during the day. So in such circumstances, the agreement is struck with the community in such a way that they determine their own time where with an overseeing team we called local committee to decide with the community what period the classes should be held for these children.
Okay.
It could be in the morning, it could be later part when school closes. So the community chooses freely the time. The time is not imposed on any community.
Okay.
Okay, let me add to what he just said. I think your question was about, I mean, excuses and reasons why we are not taking our children to school. And as we already said, our constraints are the underprivileged.
Okay.
Even those in the privileged settings, it becomes very difficult to even entice some parents to send their children to school, even though education in Ghana basically is free. Even within the regular school where we think that some parents are privileged, not rich, but at least they can send their children to school, we still have to entice them. And so one of our work is to sensitize the community.
Okay.
That it's not, as Mr. Patrick said, it's free. Everything we give, teaching and learning materials are free. And even within the regular school, we have something that we call My First Day at School. My First Day at School is where we go to the community and the schools, encouraging parents to bring their children to, not just bringing them to, also help them to maintain the children in school. And we entice them by giving them some learning and teaching and learning materials, or let's say learning materials to the kids. And you could see the bright eyes of these children. They are so happy when you give them this pack. And I must say that we've been getting a lot of support from our donor party, particularly with the UN, UNICEF, Plan Ghana, and all that. They are supporting us in packaging some of these things. Recently, because our first day at school was the first Tuesday in February, where we launched our Cycle 9, the UNICEF also supported us with some of these things. If we are giving this to the regular school, how much more those within the complementary education who are classified as underprivileged? And so it's all about sensitization. And that is one of our key hallmark, that when we go to the community entry that Patrick talked about, we go and sensitize the community right from the chiefs, the churches and parents and societies in the market area and all that, that there's a need to send the child to school, not necessarily tied to the normal straight class, as Philip said. We make it so flexible, so we decide which times is it okay, so that they find it so easy and convenient to bring their children to school. Bishop, let me tell you, if we are rich like America and other developed countries, we will still have people who have excuses not to send their children to school. So we'll keep on having it as our mandate to sensitize and encourage everybody to bring. In the face of free education, people are still giving excuses. And you can't blame them. And apart from the timings that they might, as he said, nobody to take care of the child, and they might not even be a regular school around. That is where we come in. And so we'll keep on hammering on and encouraging parents to bring their children to school. All we have to do, I mean, just commit yourself, just put on some dress on the child, give him some orange or some tea to drink and come to school and all that. And here even the government even stepping in to give free meals. The agency is having discussions as to how to extend these free meals and all that to our centers. In fact, all our centers, to make sure that our children who come can at least have one meal, and that will encourage them to stay on and have the education that we all desire for them to have.
Well, thank you very much. Our time is up, but I would like to begin from Mr. Philip, right? Great. Mr. Philip there. Now, I want you to give me just in a minute what would happen if these children that couldn't read were not being taken care by you.
It would have meant that quite a number of these children are likely to grow and turn out, if they are in the cities, into creating different kinds of social violence. If they are in the hard-to-reach areas or rural communities, they might indulge in other kind of things. And the level of education awareness which might have gone to their parents to invest in them, one, parents may not even be more aware about some of the opportunities available for their wards in the education space. And for that matter, the future of these children and high number of families will become more bleak.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Patrick Chumesi. We are looking at this country. This is Ghana.
Yes.
Looking at what you are doing and everything that's happening in the education space, where do you see Ghana 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I believe that if we should keep the tempo and keep pushing as we are doing now, then the what my honorable minister has always been saying, evidence communication, the truth will be out there for all to see in the performance of the learner, and also when it also transitions into the workspace. Because if you have, and as it is said by the economist, the performance of every country's economy is depicted by the level of education of the citizens. And so if we are pushing for this free SHS that is now turning out a huge number of learners, I actually did not enjoy it, and I wanted to enjoy it. And if you look at the basic complementary basic education, also trying to take these children out of the space where they find themselves now, then 5 years from now, if we keep the tempo, I repeat, if we should keep it going, then Ghana has a brighter future and will be able to compete with any country around the world.
All right, thank you very much. We already have at Mamfi Methodist Girls becoming the best in the whole of the world. Your school?
Yes, 98 I was the senior prefect.
Oh, that's great.
And we were winning on the Akwapim race. We gave Abri Girls two identities. When it is academics, they are for Akwapim North, Akwapim South. When it is sports, they will come to Akwapim North. But when it is academics, because of Methodist High School at the time, they did not want to come. Now it is Methodist Girls High School. And from being local champions, we are now world champions.
Yeah, you're world champions. Everyone knows about the school. I even heard the vice president mention it during his speech.
Yes.
All right, Mrs. Apiapinka, I want you to encourage somebody who's listening to us. When I was going to go to school at AUCC, Recent to Study Communication, somebody told me, what do you want again? 4 years, and I'm just finishing in May. People who think that it's too late to start something, what will you tell them?
I want to say here, and I'm glad you say those who think that it's late. Our current minister, Honorable Yawase Edichum. In fact, I told my staff that we are going to begin to have a hashtag, and that is Enkechi. And the agency is synonymous to Enkechi agency. And that is what he rightly says every time he's talk about complementary education, Enkechi. And that is why we have different cohorts of targeted groups that we look at. We are looking at the out of school children 8 to 18, and then the adult learning between beyond 18 up to, let's say, 50, 60 years, and then those beyond. We want to cater for everybody, meaning that engage whichever year that age that you are. We have programs, we have complementary education.
Wonderful.
Where we're doing so well.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Where we're doing so well in mobilizing children out of school, particularly into the mainstream. And this was actually targeted under the current World Bank supported program that GEOP, that is the Ghana educational
Outcome.
opportunities program is doing. And so last 2 weeks, we went to Dubai on behalf of the ministry and the minister to pick this prestigious award. So it tells you that we're doing well, and we want much support. As Patrick said, we want much support from all, both private and the public, as well as the corporate world. He mentioned MTN and the other corporate world. We want all of them to come on board to support us so that we can have 100% literate country.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very, very much. All right, so thank you very much for doing the listening. I was here with Mrs. Katrina Ejapoma Apiapinkra, who is Executive Director, CEA, Mr. Patrick Chumesi, Head Corporate Affairs, Complementary Education Agency, Mr. Philip K. there, who's the Acting Director, Complementary Education and Training. And we've been having a discussion on complementary education in Ghana, past, present, and future. I believe that you listened to them and you heard everything. But one thing I want to say is that engage rate. Some of you who couldn't make it to the senior high school because of your grade, they are having remedials for you. So the acting regional director for Central Region, 020-828-7111. So for Central Region, acting director's number is 020-828-7341. And then the Volta Region.